So after the recent release of the Nun 2 movie, I was really thinking about movies that actually scare you instead of giving you these cheap jolt jump scares. And I'm not talking about being scared by having a little jump in your seat at the movie theater. You're shaking in your boots a bit. No, I'm talking about late at night when you stare at a dark corner of your room and you see that old lady standing there from the movie you just watched 3 hours ago. I'm talking about movies that give you PTSD. To me, there's a fine line between being jump scared and being actually scared. So I'm gonna go over 3 movies that scared me, ranking from, I would say, probably least scared, maybe 1 or 2 scenes that scared me that I still think about today, to an actual full-blown movie that I think about basically every single day because of how traumatized I was from it. So the first movie we're going to be talking about is Juwon. So Juwon is actually the original Japanese version of the movie Grudge, which you guys have probably seen before. And there is a particular scene in this movie that I think about every single time I lay down in bed. I'm going to play the scene here for you guys. If you don't want to be scared, trust me, don't watch this. So they actually remade this scene in an English version of Juwon called Grudge, and it is nowhere near the level of scariness as Juwon was. So Juwon actually builds tension much better in their scene because the music is a little bit more low-key. There's a little bit of more ambience in the noises, and then the US version just screams in your face like a 2014 jump scare sent in your spam email from your grandma because you thought it would be funny. Thanks, grandma. Thanks. The US version is just completely over the top, and to me, it's not scary at all. Luckily for me, when I was a kid, I saw the actual Japanese version of the movie. Actually, I guess you could say that's not luck, but I'm happy that I saw this scene over the US scene because now I'm traumatized. Every time I look under my blanket, bro, she's there. She's there and she's waiting for me. So the next movie we're going to be talking about is Sinister. Sinister is a horror movie that came out in 2012. It also has a sequel, but we don't talk about the sequel. So I would say this movie, up until about the last 30 minutes, was absolutely horrifying. Ethan Hawke's character is basically an author. He writes books about true crime, and he secretly moves into a house with his family without telling them that this is the place where people were murdered. Inside of this old house, he finds footage up in the attic, which contains videos of some dude just murdering families. And everything outside of these tapes where his son sleepwalks and jumps out of a box in the kitchen is a little goofy. But the thing that was genuinely terrifying were these tapes. These tapes, the sound design, the music, the way they were shot, it was absolutely terrifying. I'm gonna play you just a part of one of these and imagine 8 more of these. You gotta watch like, I think it was like 4 or 5, but you gotta watch like 5 of these. And they're all so grotesque. There's one tape in particular that's really stuck with me. It's a family in the middle of the night just sleeping, and this guy films himself walking into the house and quietly tickling everybody's necks with a sharp carrot until they're all dead. And it was absolutely traumatizing. Because of this movie, whatever Ethan Hawke is in, especially if it's a horror movie, I'm gonna go see it. Just a little side tangent, The Black Phone was an awesome movie, and I've seen it twice. It's probably one of my favorite horror movies. and I wouldn't have seen it if I didn't see Sinister and Ethan Hawke was in it. Those are the two things that brought me to go see it. But Sinister is definitely a super uneasy movie, and if you want to feel uneasy, but you don't want to feel completely... There's a jump scare in there, dude. There's a jump scare in that movie that literally made me jump out of my seat like Tom and Jerry when they're trying to run and they can't run because they're floating in midair. That was me. I know jump scares are cheap, but the build up to that jump scare was absolutely divine. But seriously, if you want to feel uneasy for an hour and 50 minutes, go watch this movie. It's super entertaining. Just don't watch the sequel. Don't do that to yourself. And now to the final movie that genuinely I think is the most horrifying movie of all time, Hereditary. And I know I was talking about scenes that I think about all the time before, but there's one scene in Hereditary that I think about at least 3 times a day. When Toni Collette's character starts to walk out of her little art room and she turns off the lights and she thinks she sees something in the corner, and there's just this still, quiet frame of her dead mom standing in a dark room for a solid like 10 seconds. I was the most scared I have ever been in my whole entire life. The moment that scene came on, I knew this movie was something else. When a movie doesn't do anything with their scares and they just let it linger there on the screen, the director knows exactly what he's doing when he's trying to make people uneasy, and I love feeling uneasy during these movies. I don't want to say anything else about this movie. I know it sounds like I'm being lazy, but I really need people who haven't seen it to please go watch this. It's on HBO Max. Please go watch this. I went into this movie not knowing anything about it besides it had really good reviews, and that's all I needed, and people were saying it was scary, and that's also what I needed. So I went and watched it without looking anything up, and that's how you should do it. Not only is this movie a horror movie, but it's a really, really good family drama. Toni Collette's acting is absolutely amazing in this movie, and Alex Wolff from the Naked Brothers band is in this movie, and he is also great. Everyone in this movie is really good. The acting is top tier. It doesn't even feel like anybody is acting, which is, you know, the goal, but sometimes it's harder than it is, trust me. I've seen this movie, I think 4 times now, and every single time I watch it, I get the same feelings as the first time I watched it. I notice something new every single time. I put pieces together every single time, and this movie will always be in my mind for the rest of my life. Anyway, that's it for this video, just a short little one for you guys. Leave in the comments what movies actually genuinely scared you as well, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.